Coming up on today's show, Philadelphia Eagles OTAs winners and losers. But before we take a look at some of the studs and duds, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're 113 people away from 46,000 subscribers. And if you're in the market for year-round daily coverage of the Birds, this is your go-to spot. So lock us in, subscribe, and let's start the show. All right, here we go. Happy Sunday. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Coming up on today's show, Philadelphia Eagles OTAs winners and losers. I love these types of shows because we can actually talk about some football, and it means that the preseason, training camp, regular season coming up here just around the corner. Let's begin with the glass half full approach because I like to keep it positive here on the show. We'll begin with some Eagles OTAs winners. Jordan Davis, one of the winners of the week last week as the media was able to finally watch some of these practice sessions. And Jordan Davis is entering a very critical year two. Javon Hargrave left for the San Francisco 49ers upon signing that 4-year, $84 million contract. He had 11 sacks last year. Over the last couple of years, he's been the third best defensive tackle behind Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. So for Jordan Davis, he's stepping into some massive shoes, and he needed to get in a little better shape. We know that he's going to be good against the run because he's 6'6", 340 pounds, but a couple of looming questions out there for Jordan Davis. Is he a three-down player, and how good can he be against the pass in a pass-happy era? Needed to lose a little bit of weight. At Eagles OTAs, look slimmed up. Still look massive, though. He can take on double teams, and he can move a couple of blockers. He has a tremendous opportunity here to start at defensive tackle in his sophomore campaign for a very good defense that was one of the best in the NFL last year for a team on a contending squad that can be competing for a Super Bowl here in 2023. Winner number 2 is Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis's teammate from the University of Georgia. They won a national championship together. They were both a part of that 2022 draft class, and both of these players figured to be pretty important starters for this Eagles defense here this upcoming season. Nakobe Dean also, like Jordan Davis, has a big role to assume here because TJ Edwards and Kaiser White, two of your starting backers from last year, moved on in free agency. And Nakobe Dean, as of right now, alongside Nicholas Morrow, who had more than 100 tackles last year and 11 tackles for loss for the Chicago Bears, were the starting backers for the first-string defense during Eagles OTAs. He was also, and this is the big reason why he's a clear winner, the play caller for the defense. And Nicholas Morrow even said, look, I'm a veteran, but Nakobe Dean was wearing that green dot. He is going to be the play caller. When you wear the green dot, what does that mean? Sean Desai makes the call from the sideline, sends it into Nakobe Dean. In the defensive huddle, he's the one who relays the play to the entire defense. This is a guy who graduated with an engineering degree from Georgia, is a very instinctual player. A little bit undersized, but he's bulked up a little bit this offseason, which he needed to do. And the Eagles linebackers, it's a question mark on this defense heading into this upcoming season because of the two aforementioned players that they lost in TJ Edwards, who is a top 3 highest graded linebacker according to Pro Football Focus last year. And Kaiser White, very, very solid player. Christian Ellis also had a pretty good week of practice as well. Nakobe Dean, you can see here with the picture from Eagles OTAs, just added a little bit of bulk to his frame. The knock on him coming out of Georgia and why he slid to the 3rd round, that shoulder injury, a little bit undersized. I've continued to say, I think he can make up for that lack of size because he's such a heady, smart, and instinctual football player who can diagnose plays before they happen. So 2 winners so far in the books, both of them from Georgia, members of the same draft class. If you're excited for Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean like I am, I need you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Another second-year player, a winner here, and what's the theme so far with the 3 winners of today's show throughout OTAs? It's these year 2 players who are going to have to take some positive strides ahead in order to start for this team and fill in for players who left for big money in free agency. Isaac Seumalo got paid by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Javon Hargrave got paid by the Niners, and then the two backers got paid as well. Jurgens was drafted to be Jason Kelce's future center replacement, but Jason Kelce continues to defy Father Time. He continues to put together one of the most extraordinary and legendary careers of any center in the history of the National Football League, and he's not calling it quits yet. So while Jurgens will replace Jason Kelce at some point, what's going to happen in year two? Well, he's going to take over for Isaac Seumalo as the starting right guard. Some questions about his lack of size. Last year, he was just over 300 pounds. He did add a little bit of weight this offseason, and I think that he has the athleticism, as we saw in the preseason last year, with that center background to get out in space on some of those pull blocks and be an effective right guard for what could be, once again, the best offensive line in football in 2023 if everybody stays healthy. Because every member of this offensive line with Isaac Seumalo in it last year was either a Pro Bowler, a Pro Bowl alternate, or an All-Pro. And Cam Jurgens being in between Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, it's certainly going to help him assume this large role. He was asked about him being undersized, and this is what he had to say. Look, I think we're still playing the game of football, and we're hitting people. So just trying to go to my strengths here. I want to be an athlete in any spot that I'm in. I don't want to fit a pizza cutter mold of whatever a right guard is supposed to be. I just want to be out there and be a good offensive lineman. And Cam Jurgens, ladies and gentlemen, can be a very good offensive lineman. Two more winners to get to here. Let's shift gears, I should say, to DeAndre Swift, but Swift kind of sounded cool, so we can certainly go with it. DeAndre Swift, a winner here during Eagles OTAs. Now, I will say that Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott were getting a lot of the first-team reps. Let me explain, though, why I think DeAndre Swift is a winner. DeAndre Swift a winner during Eagles OTAs because he's no longer playing in Detroit. I understand they have an opportunity to be one of the best teams in the NFC, but it's been a dysfunctional organization for a really long time. DeAndre Swift grew up in Philly, went to St. Joe's Prep, so now he's back in his hometown. He is supremely talented, who hasn't necessarily put it all together yet, but playing alongside all of these complementary pieces with Jalen Hurts, with A.J. Brown, Avonte Smith, Dallas Goedert, this offensive line, and the fact that he is a very legitimate dual threat back going into a contract year, I think DeAndre Swift is on the verge of being a prime breakout candidate here for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023. His per-year rushing numbers, 121 attempts, 560 yards, 4.5 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns per year throughout his first 3 years, and along a 57. He is a better pass-catching running back than Miles Sanders. His per-year average receiving numbers, 52 catches a year for a running back is really good for 400 yards. Yards per catch, 7.7. 2+ touchdowns per year, and a long receiving touchdown of 63. He is a threat to take it to the crib whenever he gets his hands on the football. He's very elusive. He's physical for his size. He can make guys miss in the open field. Most importantly, though, what have the Eagles offensively always done, whether it be with Andy Reid, Chip Kelly, Doug Peterson, and now Nick Sirianni? They find a way to get the running backs involved, especially through the pass game. And DeAndre Swift, I think he's going to have a great year here heading into that critical contract year for Philadelphia. Homecoming, what up? Last winner here, Nolan Smith. Now, coming out of Georgia, Nolan Smith was thought to be undersized by a lot of draft evaluators. I thought that was a little bit wonky because he was only a couple of pounds lighter than Hassan Reddick, and his game very similar to Hassan Reddick. His relative athletic scores on par or even better than Hassan Reddick, who became the first player in NFL history, by the way, this past year to have 3 consecutive seasons of 10+ sacks with 3 different organizations, Arizona Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. He has a very similar game to Hassan Reddick, that elite first step. Some question his size going into the draft, and coming out of the draft. But here's the early take, and here's the early consensus on Nolan Smith. He doesn't look small, he doesn't play small, and he was very active in practice, getting a lot of reps alongside some really important pieces on this Eagles defense. You look at him next to another one of his Georgia teammates in Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, according to Dave Spadaro, was rumored to break a blocking sled during Eagles rookie minicamp. And Nolan Smith, does this look like a guy who is lacking a size profile? No. And if he's active with that elite first step and he has that 4.3 speed that he can utilize to chase down quarterbacks, which the Eagles didn't have on that late Patrick Mahomes scramble in Super Bowl 57, he's going to be valuable and could be valuable in year one. How many games will the Eagles win in 2023? I'm switching it up on you, and I'm challenging you here. The over-under for Eagles wins, I've seen it at about 11.5. They won a league high 14 games last year. Drop me a number down below. And if you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me there at Chase_Senior. You can agree with me on my takes. You can disagree with me on my takes. You can love me. You can hate me. Either way, give me a shout. Slide in the DMs at Chase_Senior. Eagles OTAs losers. This punter battle is going to be a low-key, sneaky, intriguing battle throughout training camp and in the preseason because Aaron Siposs has been about average as a punter. Kind of cost the Eagles in the Super Bowl, even though he was coming off that injury that he suffered on that tackle against the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. The competition brought in for Aaron Siposs was Ty Zentner out of Kansas State. At K-State, had a really strong and booming leg, has some experience too with kickoffs, which adds some versatility to his game. But early on, it's been Aaron Siposs who's been punting the ball better, longer, and more consistently. We're just getting started on that positional battle, and it figures to be between both of them, and Zentner, Siposs, nobody else, but right now the edge going to Aaron Siposs. Another Eagles OTA loser, Marcus Mariota. The good looked fast. The good, he looked big. Bigger than a lot of people had anticipated. The bad, though, he did throw an interception in OTAs last week on a bad decision. It's all good. I've continued to say I really like that signing of him being a backup for this team because there's not much of a drop-off as far as the scheme fit from Jalen Hurts to Mariota, and he's a high-level backup in this league. I believe in him, but he threw a pick, and we're just getting nitpicky on today's show. And then also, Avonte Maddox. He did not participate in the second OTA session that was open to the media, and because of that, Greedy Williams got some playing time, and Zech McPherson got some playing time. I don't think that Avonte Maddox's playing time is in question, but if those two impress and play well, are they going to push Avonte Maddox for some snaps this upcoming season? That is a possibility. Can't make the club from the tub, and you can't impress your coaches from the tub either. So who's your favorite breakout candidate for the Eagles here in 2023? I talked about DeAndre Swift a little bit earlier. He's really intriguing to me. Then a couple of these second-year guys as well. Let me know. Choose one. Don't forget to subscribe. Go Birds, and we'll catch you next time here on the show.